Hey y'all, it's super early in the morning in Northern California. I haven't even taken a sip of coffee yet, and I am about to do that right now. I wanted to do a little video update, vlog, and also talk a little bit about the process of the podcast and how I have been doing it, and it's actually a lot easier than I ever thought it was before in some ways and harder in other ways. So I'm getting caffeinated and awake. Also, it's pretty cold out, and I've really been looking for a heater for my camper recently. I have had this for a while, year and a half, 2 years, I don't even know now, and I haven't ever gotten a heater, so that's another thing. But before I get into the podcast, yeah, a few things like that, because this is just a vlog, so I can just say whatever I want and just be whatever about it. Couple new things. Yeah, so where do I even begin? I got this inverter. It's currently charging the phone that right now that I'm talking to you on for my solar, and I really could have it hooked up differently. This here could be hooked up straight to the battery, and the battery is on the outside of the truck, so I just got it last week, actually. Some people I'm working for right now, this temporary job that's taking up like so much of my time, but I'm super grateful for money, being able to make some money. That I haven't had time to do some things, but other things have managed to fit in between moments, so. But the family I'm working for gave me the inverter, because they were like, wait, you don't have an inverter? So, because I was like, I'm just going to do everything on 12-volt electricity. And if you don't know, I have solar in my camper, and I live in a camper, but I figure most of whoever's going to see this vlog knows that I live in a camper. Here it is. Super cute. And yeah, my electricity is from the solar, and I could plug in right here. It's like basically an extension cord that I could plug into the grid. But that's been messed up too, and we've been working on fixing that whenever our head breaks, so. So those are two new things. Inverter, so I can charge my computer, and other things that were weird. Like I think my Apple computer is like 16 volt or something, and Apple, so I've done it and it's been sweet. Inverters basically take, I need to read up again on exactly what it does, but it just, I think I'm getting this right. It takes direct current and switches it to alternating current, right? And makes it so that it's the right current for how much the thing that's being charged or plugged in needs. And it also kind of is a protection mechanism. Like there's fuses but there's loss in there, and a lot of computers are actually 12 volt. They just put a thing on the end that converts it. So then you're technically converting it from 12 volt to DC, back to 12 volt, back to DC, or DC to AC, DC to A. And it's just, some things are funny, the way we do electricity. I don't even know. I mean, 12 volt is like an older, more archaic form that our cars are run off of and stuff like that. So what else is new? I got hooks put in my camper. I don't know why I haven't done that. can see that wall right there. There's a lot more hooks, and I got that whiteboard. Just the little things matter when you live in a small space. I like to organize stuff. I have too many clothes, but and I have all of my supplies for some of the art work that I do, and also a lot of medicine. That's kind of gotten out of control. Like, here's some things. It's nothing compared to what else I have. Medicine, bottles, labels, medicine making stuff. You know, it's kind of ridiculous. But the back of the truck has a lot of space, so, and craft stuff. I have hides, baskets. It's just, you know. And oh, I have like a whole 5-gallon bucket full of black walnuts back there that I haven't finished eating. Or they're different types of walnuts, and I've been working on them, but. So, anyways, hooks have been helpful. It's been sweet to put them everywhere and actually have a place to hang and like contain little things too. So this is interesting. I'm still kind of half awake right now. I usually don't talk when I first get up, but here I am doing it. So and then I wanted to talk about, just do a little moment just to explain how I do the podcast. So I talked to my friend Heather, who, the light that's behind me is weird, but I talked to my friend Heather, who does stuff, sound and video stuff. She did some stuff for me in the past, and we actually met through Instagram, I'm pretty sure. She bought my zine, the 1/2, Ground Shots 1/2, Working in Resins, right when I put it out. One of the first people that bought it, and then we just started chatting, and then she was gonna be out in California for a business thing with this nonprofit she works for, and she's like, you should stay at the Point Reyes Hostel, and we should go for some hikes. I was like, okay. And she's like, if you wanted me to shoot a video or something, or I would do that, and I want to interview you for this project that I'm doing. I was like, okay. So we met up, and we were like friends right away. Two Aquarians who love nature, so, and have big ideas. So we talked about all kinds of things we wanted to do, and a lot of things we haven't done that would be cool, but within the fact that she lives in Maine and I live wherever, California, Virginia, Oregon, Nevada, just on the road. So we, you know, and some of the things we've talked about doing in collaboration together, we would just need a lot more funding that we both have access to right now. I don't want to say exactly what we were talking about doing, but because maybe it'll actually happen and we're not ready to say, but and you know, we talked about audio projects and stuff, and she basically went to school for sound engineering and video stuff, so it's kind of her like specialty in website design and whatnot. And I thought to myself that I wanted to start a podcast for a while now, but I thought I needed to learn how to do the sound engineering myself, because I try to do that with everything, is to learn it myself. But I've decided to start at least referring certain things to other people, because I know it'll be done better. And then with this place that I live, like, I mean, I could, if I had a heater and I have my inverter, that it would be easier to make an office in here, but, I mean, I do, but to try to learn how to do sound engineering stuff. I mean, I'm still interested in learning it some, but I'm just glad to refer it to her. So that's what we do. I have a list of people in mind for interviews, and then I have this sort of spontaneous, in the moment where I am thing, where I realize this person would be really, I really want to ask this person some questions, and like, they have an interesting story to tell, and that's kind of the amateur journalism aspect of it. And there's people I've met in the past that I thought that, and I didn't have the project sort of in motion, so I didn't interview them. So I'd like to go back and interview people from my travels in the past, and also some places I've lived who so I have some big goals here. So the first thing I do is reach out to somebody. Usually I get a yes, but sometimes people are nervous about what to say and like what we're going to talk about, and I understand that. I get nervous on there too. And I always remind them that it's going to be really chill and casual, and like we don't have to air anything. We can cut out anything. We can just say screw it, let's just chat. We could redo it. I just try to be really casual and fun about it. So we get together, and 90% of my interviews have been in person, but some of them have been on Skype, just because I felt like I really wanted to interview that person, or we missed our in-person date and we had to do it online. So for the computer interviews, I do a screen recording, which Heather told me how to do, just with, I think it's QuickTime, like the basic audio. It's light. The sun is rising. The basic audio program on your computer can do a screen recording, so it will record the conversation that's being had in Skype or Google Chats while it's happening. But it also records other sounds that happen on your screen, but I think there's a way to mute that kind of stuff. It's actually really simple, but you know, it's one of those things you just have to, you don't know. If you don't know, you can do it. You're like, how did you do that, you know? And so then that creates a big, old, giant, whopping sound file that then I pretty much immediately put in Dropbox in a folder with that person's name on it. In that way, and Heather has access to that folder. And so, but with in-person recordings, I use this thing, Tascam brand recorder. If you ever want to do an audio project or record music, field interviews, nature sounds, concerts, this is a great thing. And these little guys here go out for like concerts and in for interviews, but I've noticed that even with it in, I still pick up a lot of stuff as if it was a concert. I need to get mics that you hook up right there or wherever. There's these mics too, big old mics, that then you hook up to someone's shirt, or you have like a mic you talk into. So that would be better for getting more just the voice, but some of my interviews have turned out really well with getting all the background sounds, like Samuel's interview, the first one that I have put out. You can hear all the birds and stuff in the background. It's really cool. So I put this thing up on like some books in between me and the person I'm interviewing, and enough distance away from our faces so we don't cause any kind of weird noise in the recording. Actually, I've noticed too, I get a little interference sometimes when I have my computer on or my cell phone on, and I'm parked right now above power lines, but certain little weird things like that will make weird sounds in the recording, so that sucks when you're doing an interview that you can't redo. When I do my, so that's a thing I have to think about. It's gonna be frustrating sometimes. So after I do that, I then, hook that tool up to my computer, the recorder, and upload the MP3s onto the computer. And I could upload it right onto Dropbox or on my computer, but they take up a lot of space, so having an external hard drive and the Dropbox as the place where the files are actually stored is best. So, and then we have like a schedule of interviews that we're doing that have already been done, that we have like edit dates that we've set together to try to have a regularity in the podcast. And it's been intense for me living without much schedule sometimes. Actually, the past month I've had like a pretty strict schedule working, but a lot of my life is like that. It can be really scheduled or really not at all. But just still finding time, it's weird even without a schedule. There's like the world, there's just things happening and stimulus everywhere, and figuring out where to park and how to be warm and all these basic human things that get in the way of doing things sometimes. But we have a schedule, so what I do is listen to each one. So like I have one coming up, listen to it, and I'll sit with a notebook or my computer and type or write notes down to the second. Yeah. And this makes it easier for Heather to edit the recording. So some interviews don't need much. So you make like 2 notes for the whole thing, and some need a lot, and you have to figure out how to piece together things that you want to cut out, and so it sounds like it flows, you know? So, and me writing notes down to the second saves me money in the end, because I pay Heather by the hour. So the more I do on the front end, the less money I have to give her to do that. And so I make the notes, put it in a file, and I also make notes for myself later, so that when I write the descriptions for the interview, they're there. And because, you know, to get it, to kind of be able to write a general overview of the podcast, you kind of want some key phrases and words. And then if I have to go back and listen to it, I mean, I end up sometimes listening to things like 5 times anyways. So that's a lot of time, because, you know, if they're hour long or more each, it's a lot of time. But when you make notes, you can't like multitask, because you have to be paying attention to every word. So then we have our edit date, and and also what I have to do before the first edit date of each episode is record an introduction and outro. We already have a sort of introduction made with some music from my friend Charity that we put at the beginning of every episode that we recorded in the beginning and put and set up, and then after that is like a custom intro for each episode, which we could do that differently, you know. I don't necessarily need to say this is a Groundshits podcast, it's a podcast that da 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 da. It could just be music and then start with what I'm saying for this episode, which we could change eventually, or we could leave, I don't know. And I usually record the intro and outro. I have like stuff written down that I want to say for that. Sometimes I get frustrated with that because I feel like I'm saying weird stuff, or I get nervous about saying the wrong thing. I don't know. Or I sound too southern or something. So, and then I upload those into the same folder. And then Heather goes and puts it all together with my notes, and then sends me back another sample okay, do you like this? Is there anything else you want to edit? And sometimes it's like ready to go at that point, and other times we have to do another round of edits where I make notes again, especially if we had heavy edits in the first round and she wants to double check that it sounds good to me. So usually we have 2 edit dates for each episode. And you know, Heather's a full-time freelance sound person, so she needs to have everything like scheduled, and it's been good for me to be accountable to that. For being my own boss for a while now. Rather, when I was a farmer, I was my own boss, and right now with all of this, to be working with someone who also has a lot of other work to do in relationship to their life and other projects, it's like, yeah, setting like this on this day at this time, you need to have this thing in. Okay, I'll do whatever I gotta do. If I gotta go to Walmart and get their Wi-Fi and freaking try to do it, upload a thing. I've had to do stuff like that to get fast internet to upload audio files has been a pain in the arse. Like, half the places I've stayed don't have fast enough internet. So, or it takes hours. But some places will take 20 minutes to upload something, so that's been a tricky part of this project, being on the road, is finding places to upload from this recorder to my computer. Or no, from my computer to Dropbox, which is in the internet land, cloud, or whatever, so. And then, to put it out there in the world, I use something called Libsyn, which there's several different platforms that people use for podcast hosting. Bandcamp is one, and then there's some other ones, but Libsyn is sort of the one a lot of people use. You have to have, if you plan on putting a lot of audio files out there and you want them to stream to different platforms, you have to have something that basically exists not on your website, not on just on your computer, it has to exist in like its own cloud space, I guess, digital cloud space. And Libsyn's set up to basically broadcast the podcast. You don't have to manually upload it to each platform. Like, I'm not uploading it to iTunes. I'm uploading it to Libsyn, and then it uploads it to everything. By just the fact that I uploaded it, it exists there, and now it's like broadcasting. It's in all the places. So when I uploaded on there, it was a little bit of a learning curve with that, but you have to fill out all these little spots where you fill out the titles, and you fill out how big the file is, and you fill out if it has any rated R material. You have to fill out little mini descriptions of everything, because when they broadcast it, it has all that metadata attached to the file, and then it kind of fits into whatever platform it's being streamed to. And I have stuff signed up for Spotify and for iTunes and for TuneIn and for all these different platforms, so the way that all translates to their platforms shifts and changes and stuff. So, and I write a description and all that follows. Yeah, so I do that. That sometimes takes like an hour or two just to get it like all right, and maybe that'll be faster for me in the future. And then I put an episode on my website too, and I'm also put all of that stuff on the blog, like a blog post for the podcast. Again, so I'll copy paste, or like some stuff I have to rewrite or whatever, and then I link a piece to like whatever that's called, the banner. It's this thing that basically where you could click and play the episode right out of the blog, but it's not stored there, it's stored in Libsyn. That's a big thing, I think, with the podcast, is people don't realize that's flow, but I kind of figured it out by asking people and like looking it up and stuff, and Heather helped me a little bit on that. And then once I publish it, it's out there, and I just shout it out, and I can watch and see how many people downloaded it and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So I just wanted to give a little update and do a little overview of what it takes to do the podcast, and yeah, I'm gonna go make breakfast now and drink some more coffee. So thanks for watching my little 25-minute vlog here from the chilly morning I've been experiencing here in Northern California. It still could be worse, but okay, bye y'all.